start the session.
Okay. Hello, dear students, future doctors. Welcome to the final booster dose for NEET 2025 from APMA. I'm Professor Hemal. I'm first giving you few basic instructions, right? That ये last week में क्या करना है? Right from today, Monday till Saturday, क्या करना है? Sunday, same time you will must be busy in the examination hall, 4th May. The first thing, final physics booster for NEET 2025. कॉमन क्वेरीज क्या होता है फिजिक्स में? नंबर वन इज हाउ टू कंप्लीट द पेपर. पेपर कंप्लीशन इज अ बिग टास्क. So obviously when you attempt the NEET paper, first bio you attempt generally, then you go for chemistry. So whenever it is possible, you take out some time from bio and chemistry and you give it to physics if possible. Also, the major query in physics is that during mock test which you will be giving or you must have given, certain questions it is you find it difficult. Okay, you find it difficult to solve it at that moment, but then later on you can easily solve it when you try it at home. So then how to tackle this problem? So I've given 3-step solution for this. Step number 1 is, see, ये लास्ट वीक में तुम लोग चैप्टर का फॉर्मूला सिनॉप्सिस रिवाइज करोगे, व्हाटएवर मटेरियल यू हैव, बट देन ओनली रिवाइजिंग फॉर्मूले. आपने कुछ अपना सिनॉप्सिस लिखा है, यू मस्ट हैव रिटन योर एलडीआर लास्ट डे रिवीजन, बट खाली फॉर्मूला रिवाइज करते 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 कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आता अनलेस यू अंडरस्टैंड द एप्लीकेशन, बिकॉज दैट इज वेरी टाइम कंज्यूमिंग. समझ है तुम्हारा को ना? स्टेप नंबर 2 इज, when you are solving the paper, try to write the minimum number of steps. In doing the rough work, write minimum number of steps, because that is also very important when you can, where you can save your time. आणि पेपर मध्ये जिथे तुम्हाला स्पेस दिले आहे रफ वर्क साठी, of course at the end of the page you try to do if possible rough work besides the question. So when you go, suppose if you don't get the answer and if you go at the end back to the same question, then in that case I hope you understand the time will be saved. Agar suppose if you have the rough work ready, right, you can easily find out iska rough work kidhar hai and you can start doing from there only. Otherwise every time you will have to start from the zero and you will waste your time. And number 3, very important, when you solve the paper, you initially don't attempt the question which are not in your comfort zone wale chapters. For example, माझा thermodynamics weak hai. Then if I come across a question of thermodynamics, I may think of leaving that question initially and come back to the same question at the end. So initially you solve questions from the chapter where you are confident, do it fast, do not self-doubt. Self-doubt करते करते भी हम लोग same question बार बार repeat करते हैं. In that also you waste your time. वो नहीं करना है. Clear? Second thing, how to tackle theory questions. So for that you have to read NCERT. At the end of the NCERT chapter, every chapter there is a summary given. That summary should be read very properly. Sometimes वहां से theory questions can be framed. For example, questions like assertion, reason, true or false kind of statement, right? This kind of statement sati summary is very important from NCERT. Now, which chapter to be read from NCERT? So according to, based on analysis, I'm telling you, from NCERT 11th standard, chapter like mechanical property of solids, म्हणजे elasticity, friction, waves, and thermodynamics. From 11th NCERT, you need to read at least this book, I mean, this chapters, because questions, theory questions, particularly say maybe from elasticity, can be framed. Maybe questions on graph, maybe questions on diagram. Thermodynamics मध्ये पण खूप graphical questions येतात. NCERT 12th मध्ये there are many chapters which you need to read from chapter reading should be done from NCERT. So NCERT 12th मध्ये chapter number 1, Polarization. Polarization is the topic given in wave optics. Then dual nature. Manje, if you can understand the complete modern physics, dual nature, atoms, nuclei, semiconductors, these are very, very important chapters. They ask theory questions. You see past papers. Students, please try to understand. I am giving this analysis based on uh, 2013 to 2024 NEET papers. Based on the analysis given, I mean, analysis of the types of questions given in this papers, NEET 13 to 24, I'm giving you this final tips that you need to read NCERT from this chapters. So modern physics is must. It has a very high weightage. Of course, आपला 12th NCERT चा lecture उद्या है. So we will go, I mean, tomorrow we'll discuss 12th NCERT. Tomorrow, 11th NCERT questions we are going to discuss. Few questions, main types. But NCERT reading should be done for 11th and 12th. Of course, you will get this. You can take the screenshots and you may get this PDF also. Next is magnetism and matter. Magnetism and moving charge पण एक chapter hai, but I'm talking about magnetism and matter. That's important because you can expect many graphical questions, units types questions, definition based questions from magnetism. Next is electrostatics. Particularly electrostatics मध्ये field lines, electric field lines. It's mainly about electric field lines. The theory part, Gauss theorem, and electromagnetic waves, in particularly electromagnetic waves मध्ये spectrum. Spectrum will give you idea about some properties of electromagnetic waves. And you remember electromagnetic waves मध्ये you have displacement current also. So this all part should be read from the NCERT book. Matlab, you need to read NCERT pura, but these chapters are must. Many times students complain in physics that interpretation is going wrong. So when you read first time question, it should be quick reading, but the reading should be such that you go till end and also read options. Sometimes, range, but a number should be more than 2 and ऐसा एक ही option रहेगा, so you can directly take that. So options also must be read once first time when you're reading. Changes by, changes to, percentage increases, percentage decreases by. These all small words are important. When you have to take the ratio, suppose time period ka ratio, T1 to T2, T2 by T1, that is very important respectively. So interpretation of questions should not go wrong. Otherwise, what happens, chapter, you are very confident about that chapter, but because question read karne mein gadbad kiya, right, you go wrong somewhere, you may end up with the wrong answer. So read question very carefully. You have 1 week. If you can at least solve last 5 years PYQs, previous year questions, it's very high probability that similar type of questions or sometimes even same question you can expect. Last 5 days plan, according to me, last 5 days plan should be this. See, I've written here, morning 6 to 8, you should study physics. Next 8:30 to 10:30 chemistry, and 11 to 1 bio. What are you going to do that in that? Synopsis and formula revision. Any book which you have, reference book which you have, usme se you can revise synopsis. You must have made your own LMR, last minute revision or last day revision, LDR. From there you can revise formula. Or maybe you can just go through your NCERT book. So this should be 6 hours every day you should study. Compulsorily, I have written 2 to 5. You should be on your study table. Current 4th May, NEET 2025, पण याच वेळी होणार आहे 2 ते 5. So 2 to 5, you should be solving the paper, mock test papers. Any paper that you have, full portion paper, solve it. Because when you are only reading, फक्त तुमचा brain active आहे. But when you are writing, brain आणि hand, that synchronization should not be lost. मी काय विचारत आहे आणि मी काय लिहत आहे ऑन द पेपर, दॅट इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. ऑलराइट. सो 2 ते 5 तुम्ही फक्त पेपर सॉल्विंग करणार. कुठलाही पेपर तुम्ही रेडी ठेवा 5 दिवससाठी. फायनल म्हणजे एका तासात बायो, देन केमिस्ट्री, देन फिजिक्स, असं करून 5 पेपर प्रत्येक सब्जेक्टचे तुम्ही रेडी ठेवा and you can solve it. Now after that 6 to 8 में you will be doing self analysis and error analysis. म्हणजे त्या पेपर मध्ये तुम्ही कुठे रॉंग झाले, क्वेश्चन्स रॉंग गेले, for what reason, whether you did not understand, whether you went wrong in the calculation, whether everything was correct but in the bubbling means final circling the options you go wrong, or where exactly suppose फॉर्म्युला मध्ये r क्यूब आहे आणि मी r स्क्वेअर घेतला रेडियसचा, कुठे प्लस आहे पण मी मायनस घेतला. दे स्मॉल थिंग्स that analysis should be done, because see as a student chances of repeating the mistake for you will be same on the same day Sunday 4th May. So to avoid that you should be doing this. आणि रात्री 9 ते 10:30 9 to 10:30 इव्हनिंग मध्ये you should be doing either physics or chemistry, solving NCERT, reading, or maybe revising the synopsis. The last tip is very important. You should be in the very happy state of mind. That's very important. म्हणजे avoid negative talking and just focus on your studies. Keep talking to yourself. After this short discussion, coming to NCERT 11th, which you are eagerly waiting, the topic and subtopics which are more important. We may solve few questions, don't worry. Okay. आणि उद्या आपण 12th NCERT चे असंच डिस्कस करूया. Okay. So see, 11th NCERT, the first topic, units and measurement. If you see this, of course, my analysis is completely based on NEET 2013 to NEET 24. In this years, they have asked units measurement madun, dimensional analysis, very important, and percentage error. So you can definitely expect questions on both the types. According to me, without this, if I am a paper setter, that measurement chapter ala, I will keep one question on dimension. Now, whether it is dimensions are given, which quantity or quantity is given, what are the dimensions, or kiva dimensional equations solve karo, ते कुठलाही type असू शकतो. But dimensional analysis is important. आणि percentage error त्यावर question आले आहे, आपण solve करूया नंतर. Least count based questions on vernier caliper screw gauge. I am not saying very important, but yes, they have covered questions. Last year पण आलेला. मग ते least count important आहे. You need to know how to find out. Not very difficult question, but at least least count कसं find करायचा. हे दोन instruments साठी. Vernier caliper and screw gauge. Next, MIP. MIP म्हणजे motion in plane. In motion in plane, मी question नंतर घेता. Motion in plane, projectile motion is very important. Means, you know, projectile motion मध्ये फक्त 3 main formula आहे. Range, height, आणि time of flight. Complementary angles साठी range same असतं. That is very important type. So questions based on this quantity, range or height किंवा time of flight, or else maybe you are given some equation of trajectory आणि तुम्ही ते standard equation बरोबर compare करा आणि then you get the some quantity and then based on that some calculation. So motion in plane is important chapter आणि त्याच्यात तुमच्या माझा मत प्रमाणे रिव्हर क्रॉसिंग इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. रिव्हर क्रॉसिंग टाइपचे क्वेश्चन्स ते मोशन इन प्लेन मध्ये येतात. नेक्स्ट, लॉज ऑफ मोशन. LOM म्हणजे न्यूटन्स लॉज ऑफ मोशन. इन न्यूटन्स लॉज ऑफ मोशन, कन्झर्वेशन ऑफ मोमेंटम. बच्चा लोग ऐकून घ्या, कन्झर्वेशन ऑफ मोमेंटम इज very important. Whether it is bomb explosion, kiva object is colliding with the wall and from there it is bouncing, right? We will solve some questions types, but that's important type, conservation of momentum. म्हणजे हे मी जे आता डिस्प्ले केलंय, शेअर केलंय स्क्रीनवर, ते सगळे important types आहे. From here, they have asked questions in past. So if you won't have, if you have not done any of this type, I request in this 2-3 days, work out on this. At least basic things you try to keep ready and clear. नंतर FBD टाइप, फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम. याच्यात पर्टिक्युलरली मी इथे लिहत आहे क्वेश्चन्स ऑन लॅमिस थिअरम. I hope everyone can see my screen. Next is work power energy. In this work power energy, question is collision. Collision is important type बच्चा लोग. Elastic collision, inelastic collision. That's the type. And this is important. They've asked many times questions on work done. This is W. Work done is equal to integral f dx. म्हणजे work done due to variable force चा concept. If you are given force चा equation, then you integrate to get the work done within limits. Or else, अगर suppose force versus displacement का graph दिया है, then you find out the area, you will get the work done. Either ways. Rotational motion, RM meaning rotational motion. Here, torque is very important. No, see, formula is tau is equal to I alpha. When I say torque is important, means question will not be like I is given, alpha is given, get the torque. Maybe torque is given, I is given, get alpha, and then that angular acceleration maybe you have to use, right, in the kinematical equation and get the number of revolutions before the fan comes to stop, something like that. So tau is equal to I alpha, torque manje, this can be used with some other formula. Next, moment of inertia. For rotational motion chapter madhe, for various bodies about different axis of rotation, when you are given moment of inertia, how to find out the other quantities based on that. But chalo, please sun lo, when the chapter comes rotational motion, if I am the paper setter, I will never go without law of conservation of angular momentum. Means without any external torque, angular momentum remains constant. I1 omega 1 is equal to I2 omega 2. याच्यात valid answers चे question असतं, right? Those type, disk is rotating, some wax falls on it, मग new angular frequency will be what? Those type of questions. That is very important. तुमच्याकडे कुठलीही रेफरन्स बुक असेल, ते रेफरन्स बुक मध्ये, चॅप्टर मध्ये, सब टॉपिक्स मध्ये हेच सगळं टाइप्स तुम्हाला दिसणार. तिथून तुम्ही कुठलेही 2-2 क्वेश्चन्स पण सॉल्व्ह करू शकता. ऑफकोर्स अदरवाइज इवन आय एम डुईंग इट, दॅट ऑल्सो यू कॅन रिवाइज. नेक्स्ट चॅप्टर is gravitation. Gravitation मध्ये t square proportional to r cube म्हणजे Kepler's law is very important. Variation in small g means when you go above the earth's surface, small g decreases. When you go below the earth's surface, small g decreases. So questions on variation in small g म्हणजे acceleration due to gravity. This is important. Energy of satellite. They many times ask questions based on potential energy, kinetic energy, how much work is required to be done if you want to shift the satellite from orbit having radius 2r to 3r, those kind of questions. Elasticity. Elasticity is required to be read, this chapter is required to be read from NCERT book. Current, from here you can expect theory questions, graph based questions, units based questions, ratio based questions. Elasticity मध्ये Young's modulus is very, very important. Plus graph, that's very important. Fluids. As per NEET, first part, hydrostatics, has very least weightage. हाँ, पण त्याच्यात surface tension is important. Means you can expect at least 1 or 2 questions on surface tension. Again, it could be theory or simple calculation type questions. Thermodynamics is important. You can expect 1 or 2 questions. First law of thermodynamics, that is dq is equal to du plus dw, and graph based questions. Oscillations मध्ये simple pendulum important आहे. Energy of a particle performing simple harmonic motion. Maybe you are given energy चा ratio and displacement तुम्हाला विचारलाय in terms of amplitude, that type. Waves. त्याच्यात beats is very, very important. Beats चे questions. Beats म्हणजे दोन tuning fork दिलेले आहे, frequencies given, third tuning fork produces so and so beats म्हणजे beat frequency. Frequency difference in frequency is given, which will be less than 10 hertz. आणि wave motion चे various forms of equations we have. म्हणजे main equation is y is equal to a sin omega t minus kx. त्याच्यात different quantities दिली असेल, wavelength, speed, frequency and etc. Based on that म्हणजे various forms of equations of wave motion. आणि लास्ट इज थर्मल एक्सपान्शन, ज्याच्यात एक्सपान्शन म्हणजे अल्फा बीटा गॅमा टाइपचे क्वेश्चन्स आणि thermal conduction is important. If you trust me, this is very important type. त्याच्यात NEET 2013 ते 24 चे सगळे क्वेश्चन यामधून विचारलेले आहे. मग this will give you at least around 40-45%. If you do this very thoroughly, then you can get that score. Chala, let us start with some questions. Questions based on NCERT 11th. I may not write the complete question, just I may write the shortcut and we may go ahead. But then you try to understand the questions which I'm covering, basic types you will understand. First type, I mean, I will go try to go chapter wise, but समझो कुछ आगे पीछे हुआ sequence, so please try to, I mean, be very clear. Now see, the question here is the dimensions of rectangular block. See, this is physics lecture. Physics is going to be your game changer in NEET 25. मग physics मध्ये questions जितना ज़्यादा questions solve किया उतना it is better. फक्त formula revise करून, synopsis revise करून काहीच नाही होणार. So the dimensions of rectangular block are measured with vernier calipers having least count of. Now see, you will understand what is the significance of least count. Least count of 0.01 centimeter are 5 mm, 10 mm into 5 mm. This is LBH for cuboid. For rectangular block, length, width, and height is given. Then the question is, maximum percentage error in the measurement of volume will be. So first question from error, measurement chapter, volume cha formula is LBH. Whenever you have three quantities multiplication, we write delta V by V as delta L by L, delta B by B plus delta H by H. And if you want percentage, it is percentage change in volume, percentage error in volume. So this will be this whole thing into 100. Now the question is, you know LBH, this is your L. This is your width. This is your height. Problem is delta L is what? So I'm measuring this by using what? Vernier caliper having least count of 0.01. Manje what? That is the maximum error that is possible by using this device. म्हणजे माझ्याचे delta L आहे, absolute error, delta B आहे, delta H आहे, that is 0.01. Clear? Correct. And what is LBH? L is 5, but that 5 is mm, na? And this is centimeter. म्हणजे 5 into 10 raised to minus 1. इथे 10 into 10 raised to minus 1. Over here 5 into 10 raised to minus 1. So I took the 10 raised to minus 1 out. Please try to understand that there is a centimeter unit here and these are the millimeters given. So millimeter to centimeter, I took 10 raised to minus 1 out from all the three terms. So if you solve this, you will be getting 10 into 1 by 5 plus 1 by 10 plus 1 by 5. Here. So if you solve this, you get it as what? 5%. Calculations you can always manage, not difficult. Next. Question number 2. I mean, you are solving, I can understand, but thoda sir, you don't write questions, solve it fast, have a rough book with you, keep pen. Of course, I will be, as soon as I am done with the question, I'll go for the next. This PDF, you may get it again, so you can revise it. Next question. Question is, a certain body of mass m moves under the action of force having potential energy given by u is equals to kx upon x square plus a square, where x is distance. Read every question properly till end. And a is amplitude. Then units of k will be same as. So see, listen please. Most of the time we do wrong interpretation. K manje you take it as kinetic energy. And you may directly write it as m1 L2 t minus 2, or just you may just write the energy if dimension is not asked. Or you may take it as k as a constant. But then is this as per that expression relation k ka value may change. Now, for example, over here, the formula given to you for energy is k x upon x square plus a square. If I replace it by dimension, the energy dimension is what? m1 L2 t minus 2. I don't know what is dimension for k, but x distance आहे, that is L. आता x square plus a square म्हणजे it is distance चा square आहे. X square and a square. It's meter square plus meter square. मग dimension it will be meter चा square only, na? So from here, k will be equal to what? m1 L2 t minus 2 multiplied by one more L. म्हणजे this is what is energy, which is measured in joule, and this is measured in meter. So k cha unit will be what? Joule meter. Means you are given 4 options. Of course, I'm not writing all questions, but just trying to cover some basic types, which may help you on 4th May, Sunday 2025. Okay. Next. Number 3. This is very typical type. Let us cover this also based on error. Okay. Question is, two resistances (300 plus or minus 4 ohm and 400 plus or minus 3 ohm are connected in series. Then find effective resistance with absolute error and also percentage error. So you are given R1, let us say 300 plus or minus 4, that is called tolerance. And R2, that is 400 plus or minus 3. So when they are connected in series, we know it is R1 plus R2, which is going to be 700 ohm. And errors are additive. So it will be here delta R1 plus delta R2, which is 4 plus 3, which is equal to 7 ohm. So when you have to express this as RS plus or minus delta RS, my answer is 700 plus or minus 7 ohm. At the same time, I also want to calculate percentage error in RS. So it is the relative error, fractional error into 100. That is how you get percentage. So 7 upon 700 into 100, correct? That is 1%. Okay. Next, and the last type from measurements. Question is, if K is the kinetic energy V is velocity and T is time, this म्हणजे K, T आणि V. This parameters are taken as fundamental units. Generally आपण MLT fundamental घेतो ना, mass length आणि time. Now question is slightly different. Kinetic energy, velocity and time is to be taken as fundamental units. Then units of surface tension will be. आणि या क्वेश्चन मध्ये मी तुम्हाला ऑप्शन देतो, म्हणजे इट इज के व्ही मायनस टू टी मायनस टू, or it is k v minus 1 t minus 2, or it is k2 v minus 1 t minus 3, or it is k v minus 2 t minus 1. Now see this type of question, but chalo please try to understand. Me एक type लिया था है. What are this type of question? It's a trial and error type. Means I know there is a method here, right? You write something raised to x, k raised to x, l raised, I mean v raised to y and t raised to z, and then you try. But that's not, I mean इतना time नहीं है अपने पास. So trial error म्हणजे what? You take the first option where you are given k v minus 2 t minus 2. You try to write kinetic energy is what? m1 l2 t minus 2. That's my k raised to 1. That's 1. v म्हणजे velocity. Velocity म्हणजे l1 t minus 1, but त्याच्यात minus 2 power. आणि t म्हणजे minus 2 चा. Now when you expand this and if you simplify this, you will get what? m1 l0 t minus 2. म्हणजे this is the dimension for surface tension. So question here is, I got my answer as the first one only. So you are very lucky. Trial error means if not first option, you go with the second. If not second, then you try with the third, like that. So if, see, NEET मध्ये ना, you'll have A, set B, set C. Questions same असणार, but sequence वेगवेगळी असणार. मग suppose for example, मला set A आला, and in that set A, first answer is this only. So I get answer in the first attempt. But in set B, this is the third or correct option given. म्हणजे options मध्ये मी sequence change केली. मग I will have to try for first, second, and then third मध्ये I will get my answer. म्हणजे थोडासा माझी जास्त वेळ गेली. That time you have to compensate in the chapter where you, which is there in your comfort zone. What are the questions which you find it easier? ये मैं बोल रहा था. Because of this reason also paper may not get completed. Okay, let's go ahead. Question is, two bodies are held separated by 9.8 meter vertically, one above the other. Start visualizing the picture. That will give you more better idea. म्हणजे फक्त सॉल्व करू नका, डायग्राम व्हिज्युअलाइज करा, स्टोरी बनवा. They are released simultaneously. म्हणजे this is one of the object A, let us say this is another object B. They are separated by 9.8 meter. Both are released from rest. म्हणजे दोघांची initial velocity 0 आहे. This A will go down, B also will go down. Then the question says vertically one below the other, they are released simultaneously. They are released simultaneously to fall freely under gravity. Then after 2 seconds, the relative distance between them will be. म्हणजे again you are supposed to calculate the separation between them only. Do you understand? It's a free fall motion. बच्चों लोग, it's a free fall motion. So acceleration for both the objects will be g only. Correct, no? Because their accelerations are same, they move under the action of gravity. They both will experience the same acceleration. So they both will cover the same distance in given time. Because समझो t seconds में object A ने जितना cover किया distance d, I said B will also cover the same distance because दोनों का acceleration same है. So same force is acting. Of course, mass पे तो depend नहीं करेगा. So I can say due to free fall motion, both particle, this I can convert into assertion reason ki wa theory question also. Both particle will fall by same distance in given time. तो 2 सेकंड क्या 5 सेकंड के बाद भी पूछा तो उसके बीच का सेपरेशन विल स्टिल रिमेन व्हाट 9.8. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज a stone of mass 1 kg is tied to a string 4 meter long and is rotated at constant speed of 40 meter per second in a vertical circle. Vertical circle. So type is what? Circular motion. So types are very important. Chapter click होना चाहिए, type click होना चाहिए, formula click होना चाहिए, calculations approximately करना है, but fast करना है, and वो circling भी करना है. This everything should be done in 1 minute. So your brain and hand should work simultaneously. That's why I said in this next 5 days, starting from tomorrow, 5 days, Tuesday to Saturday, every day you solve mock test papers. Solving is important on paper. Again, question is the ratio of, but chalo, I'm just trying to cover all types, okay? Ratio of the tension at the top and at the bottom is, at the top tension is what? Minimum. At the bottom tension is what? Maximum in a vertical circle. This is, I said, top minimum. This is, I said, maximum. So this is mv square by r minus mg, and this is mv square by r plus mg. Question comes, sir, while deriving तर आपण हे टॉप वर टेन्शन 0 घेतलेला. अरे that tension, minimum tension, by taking 0, we got the critical speed as at the highest point it was root rg, at the diametrically opposite point it was root 3 rg, and at the bottommost point it was root 5 rg. But समजून घ्या, this is the critical speed, minimum speed required for the particle to complete circle in a vertical plane. म्हणजे हे मिनिमम आहे, त्याच्या जास्त मीन्स कंपेअर्ड टू दिस द वेलोसिटी कॅन बी मोर, जास्त होऊ शकते. So I'm not taking tension here 0. Otherwise, तो 0 upon something non-zero number तो 0 ही आएगा. And by the way, option में दिया भी नहीं. Am I clear? So mv square by r, I mean, you are given everything. Mass is given 1 kg. V square by r, 40 square by r is 4 meter. So you get this as 400 minus 10 upon 400 plus 10. That's 390 upon 410. That's 39 by 41. Okay. Next. Question is, all chapters of NCERT will try to cover, bacha log, so please be there. A stone is thrown at an angle theta. When the word comes stone is thrown at an angle theta, picture banao. When the stone is thrown at an angle theta, visualize it diagrammatically. It's going to be oblique projection. So it is going to go along parabolic path. A stone is thrown at an angle theta, with the horizontal. This I was talking about. Samjho, so for example, this I here give you what? With vertical. With vertical, jab theta dila hai, then this angle will become what? 90 minus theta. Then in that case, in my all formula for range, time of flight and height, I will put 90 minus theta. So all that sign will convert into cos theta. So that is very important interpretation of the question. Here it is given with horizontal, then question normal hai. Reaches maximum height. Reaches maximum height h, then time of flight in terms of h will be, of course, generally I should give you speed, then in that case mere formula mein speed aata hai u, but that's not given only, so you don't want this u in your final expression. I said you want your answer in terms of h, you want time of flight and you are given height h. So the parameter which is given in the parameter which you want, simply divide kar do. Shortcut. I said time I want. What is time? 2u sine theta by g. Yes or no? I said height h because that's given. What is that? U square sine 2 theta by g. Sine square theta. I'm so sorry. Sine square theta by g. U square sine square theta by g. So from here, can I find out u square sine square theta? It will be equal to g into h, small g into h. So from here, what is u sine theta, bachalo? Root of gh. Why did I find that? Because I can put that in time. So time I wanted, which is 2u sine theta by g. But what is u sine theta I found? Root gh. So finally, it will be 2 root of h by g. There will be 2 है, sorry. Height में we have a 2 here. So there will be 2 here, there will be 2 here, there will be 2 more here. So my final answer for time period, time of flight is 2 times root of 2h by g. Means all your options are in terms of h only, where this is the height. And time to go from O to B is your time of flight. So a simple question on projectile motion. Next, a typical question, as I said, conservation of momentum. Question is, a bomb explodes into 3 parts of equal mass. The momentum of 2 parts is minus 3p I cap, direction भी दिया है, and 2p j cap, respectively. Then the magnitude of momentum of third part will be. I just want a magnitude. A typical question where you are given this is initially total mass of the bomb, which is initially at rest. Question says it explodes into 3 fragments of equal mass. So small m, small m, small m. Of course, small m is m by 3, but this is of no use. Capital M by 3. Total mass upon 3. Out of this, you all can see one part is going in minus 3pi. One of the part is going in negative x direction. I am right now only important, for me is magnitude 3p because minus I, so I took negative x direction. The second part is going in this direction, 2pj, manje y direction. So for sure, when you apply conservation of momentum, this is going to be my resultant. So third fragment has to go in the opposite direction for the momentum conservation to be applied. For the momentum to be conserved, third fragment should go exactly opposite to this. Am I clear? So what is this momentum here? It is under root 3p square, 3p the whole square, plus 2p the whole square. So 9 plus 4, 13, root 13p. Because the total momentum should be conserved, this resultant should be the same as this. So third fragment momentum should be root 13p. All right. Next. The relation between force and position is as shown. Force versus displacement position म्हणजे graph दिलेला आहे, then there is no option left. You have to calculate the work done. Then work done by the force work done by the force in displacing a body from x is equal to 1 to x is equal to 5 centimeter is, and you are given graph something like this. This x is given in centimeter and a force is given in dyne. And I want only between x is equal to 1 to 5. So work done is what? Area under fx graph. So फक्त area calculate करो. I may change this question to what? Work done is also same as what? Change in kinetic energy, which is final minus initial. Suppose if I give you initial, then you shift it, then you may get the final kinetic energy of the body at x is equal to 5, like that. Okay, your question फक्त work done विचारलेला आहे, but I said me final kinetic energy पण विचारू शकतो by at x is equal to 5 by giving you what? Kinetic energy at x is equal to 1. म्हणजे if you are given initial kinetic energy, मी final पण calculate करू शकतो. आता एरिया कसं काढायचं? Yes, it's the, you can just like this, you can write now 1 2 3 4. First rectangle, second rectangle, third rectangle, fourth rectangle. But I hope you understand third will get subtracted because that is in the negative side now. Work done negative होऊ शकते. When the force and displacement they are in the opposite direction, work can be negative. म्हणजे minus subtract करायचं. So first area will be 10 into 110 plus 20 into 120 minus 1 into 20, correct, plus 1 into 10. So this will get cancelled and 10 will give you 20. 20 of course will be what? Org, because everything is in CGs. Next. Two circular loops A and B of radii R and NR, means N times R, respectively, are made from same uniform wire. If moment of inertia of B about central transverse axis is 3 times that of A, then value of n is. So let's say maybe you have this kind of a uniform wire. From here loop म्हणजे ring. एकाची radius r आहे. And from the same one making another one whose radius is n. From the same wire meaning what? Wire ची length तर same राहणार ना. मग here L will be equal to what? 2 pi r. And here length will be what? Must be n times 2 pi nr. Am I clear? Keep, sorry. Number of turns तर वनच आहे. It is this 2 pi nr. So over here, I'm supposed to find out the relation between this n, I mean the value for n. So question here says this for this loop B, the moment of inertia is given 3 times that of A. At the ring साठी moment of inertia is what? Mass into radius just square, no? Here it is mass into radius is enough. Please try to understand from some uniform wire, if the moment of inertia of B is 3 times that of A, jitna length, let us say the length over here is L dash, means n times it is more. So length will decide the mass. When I say uniform wire, it is the mass per unit length which should remain what? Constant. So jitna length hai, from here I can say L dash will be what? N times L, na? If you compare this two. So when there is a length is n times, meaning even mass of the second wire will be n times. So MB must be n times MA. N square R square is equals to 3 times MA R square. So MA into R square will get cancelled. I get N cube is equal to 3 and therefore N will be what? Cube root of 3. So here the important point is you may only take radius, but not radius, mass be n times hoga, because radius n times है तो length n times hoga from some uniform wire, some uniform wire में से you are making it. जितना length होगा उतना mass होगा. Next is very important type. I said tau. Tau is equal to I alpha. Question is, a rod PQ of mass M and length L is fixed at end P. So here the diagram is important. If you start visualizing it correctly, you will get the correct answer. The rod is kept horizontal by a massless string tied to point Q by the way. This is the diagram. Yes. When the string is cut, the initial angular acceleration of the rod is. I hope you guys understand. Yeah, you are given this string ka length L. Here must be mg. String cha or a rod cha weight must be acting from its center of mass, geometrical center. म्हणजे this distance must be L by 2. Question says when the string is cut from here, this end Q will go along this particular arc and this string will become like this, no? Vertical. So this has happened because there is some torque acting on it. To stick to basic torque, by by that formula which we derive is I alpha. And by definition, it is what? RF sine theta. Now this R is the distance. Distance between what? Perpendicular distance between point at which force is applied. म्हणजे हा C. And the point about which the body rotates. म्हणजे हा point P. I repeat, this D is the perpendicular distance between the points at which force is applied and point about which the body rotates. So in my case, it is L by 2. What is this force which is acting downward is W, means mg. Theta is 90. What is I? ml square by 3. Because it's a rod rotating about one of its end. So ml square by 3 into alpha. So from here I have to get alpha. एक L cancel होगा, M cancel होगा. I get 3G sin 91 by 2L. Here it is a question for the rod. It can be some other object. Accordingly, I'll take the perpendicular distance. Next. A block is lying on an inclined plane which makes 60-degree width horizontal. If coefficient of friction between block and plane is 0.25, then find acceleration of the block. So inclined plane pe when the block goes down, don't you agree this acceleration must be g sine theta, but there must be some friction acting in the opposite direction. This is mg. This will be g cos theta. So acceleration is what? G sine theta minus mu g cos theta. Approximate calculation I can do. This is sine 60 minus 0.5 into cos 60. This is, you take it as 10. What is sine 60? 0.866. Cos 60 is half. And mu is 0.25. Sorry. म्हणजे 1/4. So 1/4 is 0.25. And that divided by 2, 0.125. And this comes out to be around 7.4 meter per second square. Right? One more question on rotational and then we'll go ahead, because one LCM type is very important. Law of conservation of angular momentum. Question is, a thin circular ring, I believe in physics, only discussing synopsis in this YouTube live lecture is not important. Fuck the formula list. You must be having it. So I'm doing questions. I hope that is okay, guys. A thin circular ring of mass m and radius r is rotating about its axis with constant angular velocity omega. Two objects, each of mass small m. You need to be sometimes, you might get confused in this capital M, small m. These are not same. Otherwise, you may cancel at the end. You need to be very clear. तो उसको ऐसे भी बोलने का भी ऐसे ही. Big M, small m are attached gently to the ring. Then the ring now rotates with angular velocity of. So typical question है, you have a ring which is first having mass m, radius r, rotating about this particular axis, central transverse axis, with, let us say, angular velocity omega, mass and radius given. And the second condition says same ring which is rotating about this axis, uska new angular velocity, let us say omega dash, which I'm supposed to find. Under what condition if these two masses are attached at the two ends gently? I hope you understand system ka moment of inertia increases now. So omega will decrease. Right? Gently matlab there is no external torque. Here. So I can say by law of conservation of angular momentum, I into omega is equals to I dash omega dash. I matlab initially it was just the ring, so it is mr square by 2 into omega. Now this I dash matlab system. So ring to hai mr square by 2 plus it is 2 small mr square, because एक particle के लिए distance from the axis is r, that is mr square, but there are two such particles. I can give 3, 4, etc. And the corresponding angular velocity is omega dash. So r square I can cancel. So I get m by 2 omega. Here you take LCM. So it is big M plus 4 small m by 2 omega dash, because r square got cancelled. Here. Oh, it's a disk. Sorry. It's a disk given. So I took mr square by 2. Ring hoga, so it is mr square. This 2 getting cancelled. I get omega dash as some fraction of omega. What is that? It is big M upon big M plus 4 times small m. तो दियोर you need to be very careful किधर कैपिटल M है किधर स्मॉल m है और ऑप्शन में देखने में सब सेम ही लगता है. एंड प्लीज मेक अ नोट, मैंने डिस्क लिखा है. इसके लिए टू एम आर स्क्वायर बाई 2 रिंग रहेगा तो इट इज एम आर स्क्वायर. क्वेश्चन में डिस्क दिया है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज an object is released from a height twice the radius of Earth. So you must have understood. दिमाग start किया काम करना. Gravitation का question, right? An object is released from height twice the radius of the Earth. Find speed with which it will collide the surface of Earth. Neglect effect of air. So this is our Earth's surface. From here, if you release the object, release matlab uska velocity must be 0. So this is that height, which is 2 times the radius. So we have to get the speed when it hits this surface. Initial 0 level. So I just have to apply conservation of energy. The question is on gravitation. Because you are releasing point A, it must be having only potential energy, which will convert into kinetic energy at the bottommost point. Yes, but don't forget, it also has potential energy. So potential energy at A must be minus GMM upon R plus H. So it is R plus 2R, but 3R. This is what I want, half mv square, small m. And at the Earth's surface, potential energy will be minus gmm by r. So I have to get v from here, velocity. I hope you understand small m will get cancelled. So this is minus gm by 3r minus minus plus gm by r is equals to half v square. Take LCM 3r. So it is minus 1 plus 3 gm, which is half v square. So it is 2 by 3 gm by r into 2. उधर से भी वो 2 shift कर दिया. It is v square. So finally v will be root of 4 gm by 3r. Next. Question is, the excess pressure inside a spherical drop of water is 4 times as compared to another drop. Then ratio of their masses respectively will be. It's a drop and it's an excess pressure. So what's the formula? Excess pressure delta P is 2T by R. If instead of drop, if it is bubble, then it is 4T by R. So from here, I can say excess pressure is inversely proportional to R. But density is mass upon volume, which is mass upon 4 upon 3 pi R cube. दोनों spherical drop of water ही है, so density must be same. मतलब I can say mass must be directly proportional to cube of the radius. Okay. So from this relation and this relation, I can find out excess pressure का relation with mass. But in short, excess pressure is direct inversely proportional to R, which is m raised to 1 by 3. Correct? So from here, I can say mass must be inversely proportional to cube root of excess pressure. The excess pressure is 4 times. So I hope you understand. 4 ka cube, it will be 64. So m1 by m2 is excess pressure 1, which is 4 times. So it is 1 upon 4 ka cube. So it becomes 1 upon 64. Next. Question is, a gas expands adiabatically. It's an adiabatic expansion. Gas expands adiabatically at constant pressure such that its temperature T is 1 upon root V. Then value of Cp by Cv for this gas will be. We know about for adiabatic expansion, it is PV, which is raised to gamma constant hota hai. So from the given relation, I have to get this PV raised to gamma type. तो जो भी वॉल्यूम का पावर होगा वो मेरा gamma होगा. So since we are given that T is equals to 1 upon root V, okay, I can write T into root V means this is equals to 1, matlab constant. This can be replaced by PV. PV is equal to nRT now. So I can proportionality में लिख रहा हूँ. So I can write T as PV. So I get P V raised to 1 plus half, that is 3 by 2, which is 1. But now this is of the form this type, PV raised to gamma is constant. So compare करके I get gamma is 3 by 2 means 1.5. Right? Next. Question is, the rate of radiation of a black body at 0 degrees Celsius is E joules per second. Then rate of radiation of this black body at 273 degrees Celsius will be. Yes, they do ask such kind of not very difficult but easier questions from radiation. It's a rate of radiation. So rate of radiation is proportional to what? T raised to 4, no? So R2 by R1 is T2 by T1 raised to 4. So R2 by this initial rate of radiation is E. It is 273. Please make a note. It's a unit is Celsius. So 273 plus 273. And this was 0 degrees Celsius. Matlab 273 raised to 4. So it is 2 raised to 4. That's 16. So new rate becomes 16 times original. Next. Few more questions so that we will cover the entire 11th NCERT types. Huh? Next. At what temperature kinetic energy of a gas molecule is half of the value of 27 degrees Celsius. So how is kinetic energy related? It is directly proportional to absolute temperature, correct? So K2 by K1 is T2 by T1. They're saying at what temperature kinetic energy of the gas molecules becomes half. This becoming half. And the initial temperature is 27, matlab 300. So this must be 150 Kelvin. 150 minus 273. Matlab it is minus 123 degrees Celsius. Because options are in this thing, Celsius. Okay. Next. The displacement of a particle from its mean position is given by y is equal to 0.2 sine 10 pi t plus 1.5 pi into cos 10 pi t plus 1.5 pi. Then for this motion, amplitude and time period will be if you see this part, okay, it is same now. So yahan se you get one hint. I know sine to theta is 2 sin theta cos theta ना? इसको theta ही समझ लो. So y can be written as 2 into bracket, sorry, 0.1 into bracket 2 sine. I'm not writing that again. It's same, the blue wala part, 10 pi t plus 1.5 pi. So is it somewhat similar to 0.1 into sine 2 theta? Now that theta is what I'm writing it, 10 pi t plus 1.5 pi. So finally, if you write it, that is 0.1 sine, take this inside 10 pi t plus 3 pi. This is my equation. So if you compare it with the standard equation, y is equals to a sine omega t plus alpha, I get amplitude as 0.1. And omega, which is 2 pi by big T, is 20 pi. But time must be 2 by 20, but 0.1 second. So here, amplitude and time period both are 0.1. Correct? Next. Two pendulum begin to oscillate. This is important type because this was covered in NEET 23. Two pendulum begin to oscillate simultaneously. The first pendulum makes 9 full oscillations when the other makes 7. then ratio of lengths of two pendulum will be. See, bacha look here. Total time is what? It is number of oscillations multiplied by time period. Time period matlab time of one oscillation. So my normal general formula is T is equal to NT. Now question says number of oscillations of, say, maybe first multiplied by corresponding time is N2 T2. So in a given time, that is small t, question says the first pendulum makes 9 full oscillations. So this is 9. And in the same time, 7 completes 7, sorry, second completes 7 oscillations. That is 7. So from here, T1 by T2 must be 7 by 9. Yes or no? But the formula is what? T is equal to 2 pi root of L by G. Means time is directly proportional to root L. So L must be directly proportional to T square. So length of first to length of second must be 7 by 9 का square. म्हणजे 49 by 81. That's the length ratio. Correct? Next. A very typical type. Two tuning forks A and B gives 4 bits per second when sounded together. The frequency of A is 320 hertz when a typical type है यार नीट में आता है some वेक्स लगाया तो फ्रीक्वेंसी कम होगा फाइलिंग किया तो फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ता है राइट when some wax is added to B and then again sounded with A, once again four beats per second are produced. Then frequency of B will be. There is no general method for this. I mean, just go like this. Frequency for A is how much? 320. Give it. Question says this produces 4 bits per second. It could be either +4 or -4. So B ka frequency can be 316 hertz or it can be 324 hertz. Correct? Either of this. ये दो में से एक आंसर होगा. Now question says a little wax is added to B. On adding wax, frequency क्या होगा? कम ना? Sir, कमी होत चालणार this is going to be 315, 314, 313 and so on. And then this decreases, this become 323, 322, 321 and so on. Questions comes again 4 beats per second are produced. So I hope you understand when this answer, if I take it as 316, then it decreases 315, 314, 313. That 315, 314, 313 will never give you 4 beats per second again with 320. The difference will keep on increasing only. But if suppose I take this as my answer, so answer is not 316, 324. Because if this 324, if it decreases and if it becomes 316, then there can be a possibility that it may again produce what? 4 beats per second. Decrease hote hote, if it becomes 316, then 316 and 320 will again give you 4 beats per second. So always in these two different ways you have to think. Clear? Next, probably one more. Question is, an organ pipe P1 closed at one end, vibrating in its first overtone and other pipe P2 open at both ends, vibrating in third overtone, are in resonance with same tuning fork. Then ratio of length of first pipe to second pipe will be. So for closed pipe, what is the fundamental frequency? V by 4L. First overtone. For closed pipe, only odd harmonics are there. Oh, बरोबर ना? So first overtone म्हणजे third harmonic is the frequency which is in unison with the tuning fork. Let us say begin. आणि जो open pipe आहे, for which fundamental frequency is V by 2L, उसका third overtone. Here all the harmonics are present. So third overtone म्हणजे fourth harmonic. Uska frequency is also in unison with the tuning fork. Let's say this is L1, this is L2. So 3V by 4L1 is 4V by 2L2. This will get cancelled. V will get cancelled. So I get L1 by L2 as 3 by 8. Right? And last question. We'll take one more last. Two springs S1 and S2 are connected to block as shown. If oscillation frequency of system is F, then what will be the new frequency if mass is doubled and one spring is removed? See, आपका डायग्राम ऐसे दिया है. कुछ नहीं बोला है तो both the springs are to be taken as identical और बीच में मास m कनेक्टेड है. इसका फ्रीक्वेंसी f है. Now the question says एक स्प्रिंग निकाल दिया एंड मास 2m कर दिया, तो इसका सिस्टम का जो फ्रीक्वेंसी है विल बी व्हाट? ऑब्वियसली f के टर्म्स में ही है. सो फ्रीक्वेंसी इज 1/2 pi root of k. These two springs are same as saying that they are in parallel. It must be 2k by m. Here, these two springs are in parallel. Parallel becomes k1 plus k2. So it becomes 2k. Whereas over here, that is 1/2 pi root of spring अभी एक ही बचा, but mass double हुआ. So this is, I can say √2 times x, where x is 1/2 pi root of k by m. Whereas this is 1/√2 times x. Why same 1/2 pi root of k by m. So if I divide f dash by f, 1/√2 था और इसमें एक √2 था, it becomes half. So new frequency becomes half of the original frequency. Clear? So let's take one more. Question is, just to cover time, last question. The phase difference between two points is pi by 3. If frequency of wave is 50 hertz, then what is the distance between 2 points? Into bracket, speed is 330 meter per second. Sound ki speed, obviously. So just to cover the type, what is phase difference? Delta phi. It is 2 pi by lambda into part difference. मुझे part difference निकालना है. What is the phase difference? Pi by 3, which is 2 pi by lambda into part difference. Now speed is what? V is equal to f lambda. So lambda must be V by f. So it is V by f. F goes up. So it is pi by 3, 2 pi, frequency is 50, speed is 330 into what? Part difference. So from here, part difference, this pi getting cancelled. This will be 110. So it is 110 divided by 100. That's going to be 1.1 meter. Here. So guys, with this, I stop here for 11th NCRT. All the very, very best and God bless you all. Tomorrow same time we will meet आणि आपण 12th NCRT discuss करूया. म्हणजे if you have the formula list you revise, I will first share index where important topics so far that they've covered in NEET, and then we will be solving similarly questions of, I mean, we'll try to cover the types. If not all, but major type we'll try to cover. Okay? God bless you. All the best. आणि जी मी टाईप मेथड सांगितलेली आहे त्याप्रमाणे अभ्यास करा. हां, थँक यू व्हेरी मच. ओके. महर्षी सर, महर्षी सर, हेलो.